basically.
There we go.
Yeah. As much as this podcast is about building, it's almost about self-reflection and being able to like repair yourself. You know, because I feel like a lot of things are about self-reflection.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a lot of times in my life I never had self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, we're talking about sports. I mean, every now and then you talk about, you know what I mean, about back in the day, you do this, you do that, but it's like, you never talk about the value of it per se, unless you're around motherfuckers that also understand the value of it too, right? And it's so rare, man. We operate in a world where, this whole thing about this podcast, I made it to create a community of good operators. Good operators I've found always come from very unique, they all come from unique circumstances. It's never normal motherfuckers end up being good operators. It's rare, right? Those ones end up being like at the top of fucking capital markets. They end up being, you know, basically maybe like the managing director or the VP of like this random equity sales firm, right? But really good operators, man, yo, they just run shit. They do very unique things. I'll give you the best example. Anybody know Dennis Mitchell?
No, I don't.
He's the alpha black man in Toronto. Dennis Mitchell, and one day I'm saying this right now. One day Dennis Mitchell's gonna be on this fucking podcast, right? Dennis Mitchell, essentially, in my opinion, he's my hero on Bay Street. Dennis Mitchell is a guy who worked at every broker dealer. He worked at every place on Bay Street, raised so much money for all these funds. In every scenario, he got fucked over. To the point where he had to create his own entity. He created Starlight Capital, right? His own REIT. He runs Starlight Capital, and he had to do it because no one else gave him the opportunity. Everyone would fuck him over in the commission. Everyone would fuck him over after he made all these deals.
Yeah, proved himself over and over again.
So he was like, fuck you, man. I'm going to create my own shit, and I'm going to run it. And now Dennis Mitchell bought my last mutual fund company, right?
Oh, wow.
I have so much respect for that guy.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for that guy, right? Kendrick Sylvester is another guy I have respect for. Phil Douglas is another guy I have respect for. These are black men who had to operate on the street by themselves. Fucking just grinding.
Yeah.
Getting, you know, weathering the fucking pain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And no one gives
all
him
the obstacles.
No one gives him the roses. No one gives him Phil Douglas, no one gives him his roses, bro. And that's bullshit. He deserves his roses, bro. He's worked his dick off, man. He's worked at so many places, bro. He deserves better, right? Sure. There's so many of us. We had to survive in this battle. We had to be space marines, and we're still fighting. No one respects us, right? But the reality is, for a lot of these guys, the tip of the spear, the fucking marines of this space, you're not gonna get your roses until you fucking create that shit. You know?
Something for yourself.
You have to be that character, though. You have to be that kind of guy who's willing to take that shit on, right? You have to be that guy like Dennis Mitchell who's gonna be able to create. You know how hard it is to make your own REIT and be able to like buy smaller mutual funds, and that's crazy to me. A lot of people understand that, right? But
the level of risk you take on.
So much. But the thing is that you always have targets on your back, but you gotta win at the end of the day, because winning is surviving.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. At the end of the day, that's all it is.
Yeah. You gotta win. I tell people you gotta win more times you lose.
Yeah.
100%.
Upward trajectory.
For sure.
It's like if you have a lot of ups and downs in your life, as long as you're progressively making that parabola go up.
Yeah.
You can lose, but you can kind of fail forward at the same time. As long as you're failing forward, you're not like fucking wrecking yourself.
Yeah, you want to be right more times than you're wrong at the end of the day. That's how investments work for the most part, you know?
For sure. Totally.
If you look at the stock market, you just have to be right like more than 12% of the time, and you're beating the market. Like if you're failing like 88% of the time.
You're in trouble.
Yo, but honestly, that's also why I respect this guy. Eric is very subtle. He's very humble. This is a great fucking operator, though. He's a really good fucking operator.
I had a business partner that was like, in my first few years of doing business, we had a clothing label a long time ago, and he was like a very, mouthy guy. Like, he would be a borderline, like, narcissistic, go around telling everyone that, like, we're the shit, this and that, and I'm just like, it really hypes everybody up. Everybody likes to be around a guy who's going around being like, oh, you know, we're like, you know, we're the winning team, and you should hang out with us because we're gonna fucking win, we're gonna fucking make it. And then, like, when you fail, you look like a fucking idiot. So I think we should actually just like kind of prove it through action.
Yeah.
And then it's undeniable. But don't be one of those. Don't be like, you know, big hat, no cattle. Don't be one of those guys.
It's two-sided though. Here's the thing: if you got a big mouth, don't lose it when you lose.
Yeah.
You know why I respect Kanye as much as everybody hates him? Yeah. That motherfucker never shuts up.
Yeah.
That's his style.
Keeps the same energy.
He never shuts up, bro. Doesn't matter where he's at. You know what he said when all this shit happens? Hey man, maybe for some time I'm gonna have to get low.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. I might have to get low for some bit.
Yeah.
And I respected that because I was like, yo, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go down. I'm gonna have to go down for a bit.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, sure, people can hate me for this, right? The fact that Adidas is like, fuck it, we have to sell Yeezys, bro. That is such a indicator of this motherfucker's personality.
Yeah.
He's gonna win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much he fucks up, and he fucks up bad, and I will say that, right? But he comes the fuck back up, and he keeps he keeps the same energy, bro. And that's what you have to do. You gotta survive.
I think it comes down to results. So
Straight up.
You know, at the end of the day, man, like, you could talk, you could do this, you could do that. One thing that just speaks volumes is when people see results, and people aren't dumb. You know, they see the lifestyle change, or they see, you know, you progressing. They see the results, and once they see the results, they're like, damn, this person is authentic.
Yes.
Like, this person is real about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could talk all you want, people could talk, but if there's no results, there's no connection.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? So I think the key comes down to just results.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, well, there's different types of people. There's people who talk it.
Yeah.
They like it because they like to have that pressure on them.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see like some athletes like Reggie Miller, he would talk shit, and then he likes that pressure, to prove everyone that, you know, what he said, he can do it. But other people like Dylan Brooks, they can't keep the same energy. And then it gets into their head because they're like, oh fuck, it's halftime and I'm 0 for 12. And it gets into your head.
It does.
You know?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, even if you lose, you talk, it's fine. But at the end of the day, face it. Just be like, hey, I talk shit, I lost, I'll learn from it, and that's fine.
When you don't
But
face
you know,
when you don't face it,
but you gotta face the media, you know?
Oh yeah.
You know why? Okay, I have two people I have all time respect for. Allen Iverson, Michael Vick. Because both of them went through the parabola, right? Like winning and losing, right? But they kept the same fucking energy. Michael Vick came back as a better man, but AI just, same thing, relentlessly black. I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm gonna get my fucking braids done by my mom on the sidelines. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm gonna come back at it. You know, this I honestly feel like that's the one thing people really respect about the culture. I'm gonna say this specifically. It's not black culture, it's black men. The ability to fucking just like, yo, motherfucker, I don't care. I'll brave this fire. I've been through this before. Do you know how low I've been before? Motherfucker, I've slept on floors next to roaches. I don't fucking care. You can't defeat me. No one, you have not been through the challenges that I've been through. You can't beat me. You don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the horsepower.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just that drive, that ability, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's that adversity, man. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the movie Emancipation?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't.
That's a horrifying movie. Okay, it's about like it's about this like black slave who escaped during like World War I, the American Civil War, and like probably like I don't know when that happened, probably like War of 1812 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he like ran away to the north to like go fight for at the time it's actually the Republicans because it's reverse, right? And when I was watching this, I'm just like, essentially at this point in time, like I think what it is black people, they essentially have to fight for multiculturalism in a Western country, right? Because like if you think about it, all the other like ethnicities came after this, but black people were the first people in North America to have to fight for like essentially like multicultural rights. Because before that, it was like if you're black, you're gonna be a slave in this country. We don't accept like there was a full on race war, right? And I started realizing like why like they kind of deserve, like in the black community in many ways deserves to sort of like, say we've been through the most amount of shit, because like all the other ethnicities that came after they came after essentially like slavery was emancipated, and like even like Chinese people, like brown people, whatever, like there was no point in time when they had to sort of like go through that and pave the road for multiculturalism and write the script for multiculturalism. And redefine all of that, like historically, right? Because everyone else, all these ethnicities, they came later. They came in like the 60s, 70s.
Much later.
Much later. But black people originally, because they were there the longest in the U.S., they really had to like pave the road. And I was watching this, I'm just like, it was fucking crazy, bro. It's like they kidnap you, make you build a railroad for the Confederates at the time, feeding them nothing. If you wouldn't work, they'd like blow your brains out on the spot. It was like the pyramids plus like modern technology, literally absolutely terrible.
I'm so happy you brought that up. Okay, so
it's a good movie. You should watch it.
the more time,
Will Smith is in a new movie. Yeah.
So I've become really good at AI prompts and using AI, and the more that I use AI, the more that I realize, okay, so the current AI. So in 2017, the nature or the engine that we actually perceive AI changed. Because in 2017, people started using LLMs rather than like deep machine models or neural nets and whatnot, right? And to some aspect, yeah, an LLM is a neural net, right? But LLM, a large language model, essentially is just basically they feed it on a whole bunch of information and they use GPUs to transmute it, right? And it's interesting because the reason why LLMs work so efficiently, some people are theorizing, is because there is a tangible relationship between language and logic, right? So basically it's like language explains logic. Everything works off logic. So for example, a computer has certain logic, binary logic. That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
the world works off logic. So the interesting thing about LLMs is they've become really good at basically using natural language as a language to explain logic, right? People generally use mathematics. Mathematics is the most natural language because it's universal, right? But LLMs use natural language, right? And I'm realizing it's because, you know when you talk to someone and you're able to finish a sentence? It's because you're following a line of logic within their reasoning. And logic is the most truest of truth, right? You can't, and honestly, this is what I've realized. The more that I focus on using AI, the more logical that I come. And the more logical that I become, the more people that gaslight and lie to me piss me off. Because you're not using logic. You're basically transmuting logic to a format that's benefiting you, but it's not actually the format of like proper logic. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So I feel like as black men, because we have to deal with the most like, not even just black men, Chinese men, like you as well, right? So it's like, we have gone through so much attrition. We have so much practical data points. It's not academic, it's practical data points, right? I almost feel you can't debate our logic because we've seen what's happening, right? We have so much data sets. So because of that, we sort of understand, I don't want to say truth per se, but it's like, there's ways that like, the way we see the world is completely different from other people. Because it's truly a practical experience in it, right? And I think that's why I do respect people that come from attrition. Your truth is so much more true. It's not an academic perspective. It's not like a theoretical perspective. It's like, no. This is actually how the way the world works. So you're telling me the world works this way, but you're wrong. I can't explain to you why you're wrong because you don't understand. You have an academic perspective of life. And sometimes I feel like, don't get me wrong, obviously I respect Adrian a lot, but I feel that's where our debates come a lot at, because he has a very academic perspective of things, and my thing is practical.
Yeah, there's theory and practice in life, and there's a lot of times like sort of like, you know, like they've done a study on like how many times like science was actually wrong. Like science has produced like there's a like Nazi science, and like there's been a lot of bad science out there, like euthanasia, like euthanizing people. Like, you know, during like the Holocaust, they were just like, well, if we just take everyone who's like disabled or like gay or like, you know, not like white and just, you know, put you in the gas chambers because like science says that we should do this because we have like data on this. Like the Nazis had scientists, man. Like so science can be used for evil too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And also just being logical is good, but being hyper rational is there's like being rational, being like kind of like non-rational, and then being irrational. Irrational is like I'm gonna go ape shit today. Being rational is like I'm gonna do the right thing, and then being non-rational is like I'm gonna do something that doesn't make a total amount of sense, but it's probably the right thing to do in this situation. You know?
Even day to day, like emotional intelligence is everything.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Most important.
People don't realize that, you know, like, I don't know, we have like, we're talking about AI and stuff, but that's going to be the core component. You know, at the end of the day, that emotional intelligence part is not going to be there.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it is though, because the thing is, you can't cheat AI's logic. AI works on pure logic. You can't lie to it. It's just trained on language. So it just comes to the most logical conclusion of what the next word should be. And generally that's just the truth. It goes through and references things like, so I'll give you an example. So I've gotten really good at prompt engineering. So the best way to create prompt, and this is a key right here. The best way to create prompts on GPT or any AI system, right, is you ask it this. You ask it a question, and then you ask it, I want you to come through the answer step by step. So for example, I was telling my dad this. Tell me the color of that cup. So you would say it's black, right? But that's almost your autonomic response, right? The way I would break it down to an AI is like, okay, what is color? Color is based on the refraction of light, and light is how human eyes perceive light. Color is based on how human eyes perceive light, right? And how human eyes perceive light is based on refraction. So when you look at that cup, the reason why it looks black is because it's refracting at a certain code, right? So rather than just saying, oh, it's black, I would ask it, okay, what is light? What is refraction? What does refraction mean? How is that refracting off this thing? Okay, now we can determine that it's black. And then I would ask it, right? So after going through the steps of assessing that, is this logical? Is it a logical conclusion? After you went through those steps, right? Is this a logical conclusion? And it's actually funny because when you ask GPT specifically from that process of how to come to a conclusion for an answer, it increases the efficiency of its answer by, I think it gets to 89%. That's the highest efficiency you get GPT at right now. 89% truth, right? And you have to break things down and ask it, is this a logical conclusion?
You know, sorry, you know a good example of like a non-rational decision is actually like who you marry. So like if you're like a woman, you're like, I'm gonna marry guys, it's like I want a rational decision of who I'm gonna marry. You can't really do that because that's how you make it rational. Like I'm gonna line all these guys up in a row and I'm gonna pick the guy with the biggest dick. Like that's not how fucking life works, right? Like you know, like that's something maybe like how would a machine choose your partner for you? That's why like online dating is so fucked up because like it's all just data driven, right? But in real life, because in real life, like when you're being filtered by a machine, it's pretty fucked. But if you in real life, like you know, there's nuance. Like you know, you might have grown up with someone, you might love someone who like you might have never expected to love. But that's not something a machine can understand, right? That's like machines at the end of the day, they are tools. But there are tools. But I think it can explain why you love someone if it breaks it down from a step-by-step perspective. Right? Yeah, but at the same time too, like, you know, like, let's say like you just love bad bitches and you know this goes bad for you, it's not rational, but I just love her, you know what I'm saying? And then there are so many men who experience that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's kind of like how can we rationalize that, right? Like that's not, you know, I feel like a lot of love is, I feel like when you're gonna marry someone, you need to have some rational reasons, but like I think a lot of people, if you really try to explain like why you love someone, so much of it's subconscious, because that's the thing about humans, like we try to be rational, but if you really look at humans, man, we make a lot of really like kind of non-rational decisions. 100%.
But
that's what means
we're probably the most rational people.
Yeah, because animals, man.
So I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think how I look at life right now is not through rationale, it's through logic. Because that's what I'm trying to say. Logic is a universal language.
It is, and like we try to be, especially in business. Like business is like you really get into economics. Like you know, the market behaves rationally. If you want to do well in business or in life in general, you need to make decisions that are, you know, it's like how you run a business. You sell a product or a service. That's really it, right? That's pretty rational.
Risk management.
But even back to what you do automation, right? The algorithms that do automation, right? They look at things not through ration but through logic. So through trends. Okay, historically, I'll give you sell off and go away. That's the best way. Historically, over the 4 months of summer, markets underperform, which is why portfolio managers sell off. Right. That's logical. Ration doesn't make any sense. The ration would be, oh, it's summer. All the brokers go away for summer. That's not logical though. Yeah, that's rational. It's almost the same thing between empathy and sympathy. Rationale, like ration and logic are two different things. I think ration is almost more emotional, but logic is hard.
For sure, and like even just like really good critical thinking, like reasoning skills, like some of the best entrepreneurs I've met, they're really good at I'm gonna use Elon Musk as an example, but just breaking down like what's called like fundamental thinking, like they use in physics. Yeah. It's like just breaking it down, like okay, we're gonna make batteries. Okay, why can't we do more electric cars? Because batteries are too expensive. Okay, let's investigate that claim. How can we make batteries cheaper than our batteries so expensive? Like, is that premise correct? You know, right. And then breaking that down and like, I like nowadays, like when I run any kind of business project, the first thing I try to do is I try to simulate it. So I usually try to find someone else who's done it, and I see what their results were. That way, I don't have to do it. If you look at the way like bacteria become successful in the ocean, for example, they copy other successful traits from other DNA things. So if you look at so you can if you just use that kind of like that logic across everything. Dude, that's why I bring up like Chinese companies. A lot of Chinese companies, like, they just copy shit the West does, not because like they're not creative, but because they're trying to use proven models. They're trying to mitigate the risk because it's a poor country. Well, it's not a poor country anymore, but there's something like 25% of the country still in poverty. When you're coming from a poverty mindset, you're really going to want to mitigate your risk down to the minimum and do proven strategies. A really good example of this is like, yeah, man, like, you know, like when the app explosion was happening with Uber and everything, a lot of the apps are being copied to other countries. We're just going to do it cheaper. Or we're like, well, fuck making Uber. We'll make our own version of Uber. We'll just copy it. So that's one way, but that's actually from a DNA standpoint. You know, that's what humans and all the animals have been doing since the beginning of time, right? We've just been just figure out what the other bacteria form is doing, copy its method, and then adapt upon that. And then we'll use that data while it's relevant to sort of like get ahead and improve and innovate shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we make rational decisions because we don't know our identities of who we are as individuals.
And I think that comes down to logic, though, right? Honestly, I'm a huge logic fan right now, and I think, like, again, I'll say
it should be. It's good for you, bro. They help you make better decisions in life.
So so the other day I was talking to my father. My father is an African man who was born in the 1950s in sub-Saharan Africa in the village, right? So the other day I was trying to tell him, I was like, hey, sometimes I feel like we have issues in communication, not because of like anything between the two of us, but it's because you learned your first language as Luo. I learned my first language as English. Now, English is based on Arabic, French, German, all of these things, right? There's so many words.
Yeah.
Like, basically, there's so many words in English. Everything has a definition. Whereas romantic languages, it's all elaborative, right? So, for example, like French, Spanish, all that stuff, right? Italian. Wait, Italian's a different Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's like that's more of an elaborative language where you need to actually emote things to explain what you're trying to say. Whereas English, right? There's a word for fucking everything, and it's actually funny because quantum physics operates the same way. So I've been looking a lot into quantum physics. As human beings, we cannot understand the quantum world. You wanna know why? Because it has no value to us. We go for the most optimal way to understand things. So for example, I see you. Realistically speaking, you guys don't actually look like this. But my brain is transmuting it in the way it's the most efficient for me to understand.
Right.
I.e., like your hand's here, so if I hit it, it's a problem for me. But realistically speaking, actually, based on the quantum world, when your hand goes from here to here, it's actually a different atomic structure. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But like my mind doesn't perceive that.
Right.
It's just like your hand goes from here to here. That's it.
That's all I know.
So I know if I hear a hand, I'll hit it, right? It's almost the same thing with English. So my father was telling me the story. He's telling me about his 4 friends, and he was like, okay, my one friend came in 1992, the other friend came in 95, and I came in 98. My other friend came 7 months ago. So he explained to me like that. And I was like, you know what's funny, Dad? The way I would explain it, right, he's like, my 3 friends came from the 90s, my other friend came from 7 months ago. But the way he explains it is like systematic.
In order, yeah.
Right? And I'm like, that's because your logic system is more elaborative than how English operates. English is a straight fucking line.
There's a lot of studies right now about how like the language you learn actually affects the way your actual brain is structured, because it actually like builds a structure in your brain, right? So there's a lot of good examples behind this, but you want to talk about Romance languages, like these languages, I don't say create misogyny, but like they have masculine and feminine pronoun conjugations. Like Chinese, like I studied Chinese. Chinese is, I learned I'm from Canada, my family's been here for 100 years, but they made me study Mandarin as a second language. And the first thing in Chinese is that it's actually like the reverse of that. So for example, in Chinese, like him, her, and it is the same word.
Yeah.
So like, and there's no feminine or masculine like conjugation for something like that. So it kind of like, there's that going on. And then like there's other things, like Japanese and Korean and everything that like more formal, and German as well. When you're speaking to people who are like above you, senior to you, you have to change your verb conjugation.
Right.
So it actually creates in the actual like it's telling people like how could like we need to make this society like less hierarchical and less sort of like authoritarian. But when the language has that structured into it, being like when I speak to someone who's like let's say we're like both peers in school. And we're in the exact same grade, but this guy's like 3 years older than you. So when you speak to him, you have to speak to him with sort of like give him like a senior title and everything. That even though you're doing the exact same thing, you make the same amount of money. He's not really your senior,
right?
But just to do things like that, or even like if you're dating a girl and like she's older than you, and that sort of affects like that would definitely affect the way you're thinking about life, right? Because when you start reframing, I've been thinking about this a lot recently about how in life. Everything is about the lens you're viewing life through. Like when you're depressed, it's almost like having a dirty lens on. Everything looks like shit. When you're in a really, really good mood,
you're in a different world.
It like your brain chemistry, the way you're viewing everything. You could like, if you're really fucking depressed and your kid is born, you could be like, yo, this is the best day of my life. Or you could look at this and be like, yo, like, fuck, like this is so stressful. I'm gonna have mad daddy pressure. I gotta take care of my baby now. This is like a really stressful day in my life.
Perspective.
So, it really is everything because it affects the way you look at everything. And it really is the lens in which you view. So I feel like in therapy and all sorts of things like that, they always make you sort of analyze your beliefs in life, and that's fucking good, right? It tastes fucking amazing, right?
It's actually scary.
It's the most next level flavor I think I've ever gotten. It tastes like fucking candy. It's like fucking. I had RC fucking try that. He's just like, this should be illegal, bro. It should be fucking illegal. It tastes so good. It tastes like strawberry cream flavor, man.
5,000 pulls.
5,000, that'll fucking ruin you. Yeah, 5,000 hits.
It'll last you for a while.
It'll last. If you're not, I went on Reddit typing in how long does 5,000 hits last you. There were guys on there who were like king smokers. Oh yeah, I go through that. I do like once a week. I'm like, you're hitting that 1,000 times a day. You're a fucking crackhead. How the fuck did you do that, bro?
Yeah, basically, this is the only day that I vape.
Yeah.
It's fucking bad for you, bro.
That's why I'm saying this is like my tobacco pusher.
I'm a fucking enabler. I'm like the nicotine push for that. But I started carrying the bag around. I was just Dean earlier, and we had the vapes out at Stack Market, and the fucking security can't do this outdoor venue. Security's like, can't vape here and shit. I said, fuck you guys.
You can't vape at Stack?
Yeah, it's outdoor. You know, Stack's actually changed, because when I first went there, it was like, you know, they had the Blue Moon Brewery there, and it was all hipsters hanging out, kind of a brewery vibe. It was chill. You go there now, man, they're playing like fucking house music. Everyone on their Sunday. I'm like, this is turning into like a kind of a Toronto kind of like rave, like bougie vibe. Everyone's like acting all serious. And like the vibe has changed in the last couple of years. Yeah. And then you go over to the taco stand, and any other city you go to, like a shipping container market, like in Brixton in London, or like, you know, Camden, or like fucking like that stuff. I've been to quite a few, like, you know, shipping container markets. It's supposed to be cheap because it's a fucking food truck. I'm supposed to come here and like it should be so cheap. I should be able to come here every day for lunch and have like lunch for like $12. But then you go there and it's like, yo, like 3 tacos, $15. I'm like, okay, reasonable. And the taco is so fucking small. It's like 3 mini tacos.
Right.
And it's like I'm like, dude, this is like the cost of one motherfucking taco.
It's
this
$5.
Is like,
it should be $5.
It's fucking, it's the point. I'm like, this is what's actually hurting the city. I'm like, I can't come here every day for lunch, and now I can't hang out here. I pretty much can't afford to hang out here because I'm not getting fed.
It's
and then it's seasonal because it's a Stack Market, and you know they
that's true, because they're closed during the winter.
Yeah.
So you know what, guys? I actually feel like we've done 2 hours.
What?
We've done 2 hours.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Well, if you guys had that, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like 2 hours is
Yeah.
all we need.
That's a week.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about? You want to cover this? You good?
I think I'm good.
You good?
I'm good. Yeah.
All right, that's it. All right, that's episode 17. Thank you for coming, guys. All right, episode 17. Here we go. Start it up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
What do you guys want to talk about?
So, okay, first one. Adidas is selling Yeezys again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so is Kanye the only one to recover from that?
Yeah, what's going on with that? Because apparently he bought the rights to Yeezys, from what I understand, right?
Well,
or like the designs at least.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about the updated thing by the designs. From what I understood, he owns the Yeezy brand, but the designs were licensed. Wait, no, hold on. The designs were owned by Adidas, though. Yeah. So like but what I also heard though basically is that they lost so much fucking money that they had to resell them basically. Because it was a JV, it was Adidas, like Kanye West JV joint venture, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if anyone was losing money, it wasn't Kanye,
Yeah,
it was Adidas, right? And they also tried to launch a new line of bullshit Yeezys that like sold nothing, I guess, right? So they're like, fuck it. And he also did like his little apology tour. Yeah, he did his apology tour with the Jews. I feel uncomfortable talking about this, not actually having a Jewish person on here, but it's cool. I've worked for Israelis for the last 3 years. You know what I'm trying to say? They know the deal. But yeah, it's just funny because basically he's the only person I've ever seen recover from this. And I've worked with Israelis, again, I've worked with Israelis for the last 3 years. Yo, they don't forgive. You know what I'm trying to say, bro?
For sure.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, right? So I honestly think this is the first time someone's, usually you get blacklisted hardcore.
Yeah.
Even, I think the last person I can think of this is, who's that actor? The guy who went on a crazy anti-Semitic rant.
Kanye went on a crazy anti-Semitic rant.
Yeah, he did.
Kanye, then
He-
right after that was Kyrie, you know, so it was like kind of back to back.
Yeah,
With the whole, I mean, Kyrie didn't really say
He's also
anything.
he's also not the smartest guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's a flat earther. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know about that. But I'm just roasting him. But yo, who was that guy? Not Russell Crowe. The guy he did something of Christ, Passion of Christ.
Mel Gibson.
He never came back. Mel Gibson never came back.
Is Mel Gibson Jewish? That was not a Jewish.
No,
last
he's
name?
not. He's Christian, but he went on a crazy.
And he did Passion of the Christ, right?
Yeah. He never came back. He never recovered. As far as I know, Kanye's the only one to recover from this.
I mean, he's got a huge brand though.
He does.
I do want to say with Kanye, I don't even feel like he fully came. Well, I think it's the mental illness thing, but I'm not even sure if I can say he fully came back.
No.
People are not going to forget.
For
that.
sure.
We're not going to forget.
He said some crazy shit. He said some crazy shit.
I think people are just fed up with him. They hear him, they're like, all right.
Well,
You know?
it's funny because I even heard like and everyone has like their own like perception. Like, you know Eric Weinstein? Yeah. So he it's funny. Like he was talking about Kanye too, and he was just sort of like the way he was speaking about him was from an empathetic, not a sympathetic perspective, but an empathetic perspective, right? On some podcast. And I was like, wow, it's really interesting that like I think Kanye is the only person who's ever given the opportunity for ever being in this kind of context. And let me say this, he said some crazy shit. I was ready to disown him.
Yeah.
Can't sit here and say I love Hitler. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like actually,
100%.
right? But yeah, that's like a.
It's a love-hate relationship with Kanye because he does.
It's always
Man, he's brought some of the best work out there.
Yeah.
Music, art, design, like all over the place, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, please, just don't do any crazy shit. But, you know, obviously he's going through it as well, so you hope the best for him, you know?
Well,
at the end of the day, he has kids too, you know? And that's the hardest.
Feel bad for his kids.
You know, like at the end of the day, screw everything else, you know, just like take care of family, you know?
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't even ever become successful ever again.
Yeah.
Or like, it's not even about success, right? It's about like, you know, popping off, right?
Yeah.
Back into the limelight and stuff.
Yeah.
As long as he takes care of the family and he has a great relationship with his kids.
Yeah.
And be a great dad, like that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from an entertainment perspective, he's still blackballed for sure.
Yeah.
There's no way he's coming. Entertainment industry is like it's a gatekeeper industry, right?
Yeah.
But how about this? And like obviously not to sound misogynistic, but isn't it interesting that the Kardashians just destroyed every single black man that they're with? Like just destroyed.
White guys too, man. Fucking Bruce,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Chris
all-
Humphries,
yeah,
He's a changed man after that, bro.
Oh, it's crazy. Like it's a consistent thing. Like they're 100. Everything I know in life is 99%. But if you date a Kardashian, it's very guaranteed, bro. Like
I think it's like you're dating very rich, powerful women who are also on reality TV, which is just inherently toxic.
Yeah.
The combination of those things, it's really difficult to be married to someone like that.
Yeah,
Like she's super fucking rich, she's famous, she's also like a sex symbol.
Yeah.
Try the new one, bro. Try this one. This is the new one.
Yeah.
It's a brand new one, bro. Try that one. This one. I ruined your life right there. Try
yeah.
that.
So this guy's my tobacco pusher.
This is the vaporizer buffet.
Yeah. This guy got me on vapes, bro.
Yeah.
I vape once per week.
But that flavor that was crazy. That flavor ruined your life, bro.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's crazy, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
What flavor is that?
Strawberry cream
So
vanilla.
good.
Nice.
Wow.
Strawberry cream vanilla. It's a brand new one.
Yo, it tastes like women.
It smells like girls, honestly. This is some shit like this is a chick flavor. Girls would love this shit.
So it's big.
Yo, are we marketing tobacco products, bro?
No.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah, we pretty much have been. This whole podcast, low key, it's been like
No, you can smoke on camera as long as you're not like selling a product on social media. I've had Instagram come after me because they're just like you have like smoking in your video. When I was running ads, you can't have smoking in your video, so I had to like take that out. But no, but that was for like my own personal ad, not for the podcast, but for personal ads.
Yeah.
Because I was running ads.
Yeah.
But this is not like hey, buy this shit, you know.
Yeah. So Mike, let me introduce you to the environment. This whole like basically at first this was a fun thing, then it just turned into like, hey, in the winter, let's just stop going to the same stupid clubs every Friday and getting, you know.
We still do the clubs every now and then. We still party every now and then, though.
Yeah, every now and then.
Every now and then we'll still party. We'll still do it. We didn't do it quick. Every now and then we'll still do it.
Fair enough.
But we're also getting a bit older, just to mix it up.
Yeah.
You know, just to mix it up.
Because it can't be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're going out, you know.
Yeah,
you got to do other things. Also, man, you want to build at the end of the day.
And learn. And learn.
What's that one line from that one Drake song?
I'm in the studio making like songs that everyone else is partying to.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You want to build. And my thing is continuously building. Stay busy, bro. Do a lot of things. So actually, I guess I haven't done the proper intro, bro. But yo, Mike's doing some crazy things in the world of automation and crypto.
Nice.
Just in general, like wealth management, right? So yeah. You guys probably have a lot of things going on. This guy's also like a huge guy in crypto as well too.
Me, no, not really, no. But like, I worked with the NFT boom for a bit, so I got pulled into it because I do 3D animation. So they're just like, oh, you do music videos. Are you down to do like commercials for us? Are you down to like do some NFT shit? So I did that last year, and then I'm on one project now. So it kind of dried up. I'm on one project now, but I got pulled into it pretty heavy for about like a year straight.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was good to sort of explore that, but like a lot of people I was working for, there was a lot of like pump and dump. There was some really shady people in that industry. It wasn't
for sure.
total opposite. Music industry people, they're all artists. Everyone's really cool. We're doing this for the music. We're very passionate, like, you know. And then like the NFT shit was like, we're gonna fucking rug people. Can you get this done by this deadline? If we throw more money at the problem, can you get it solved faster? I'm like, that's the music industry does not offer. Running up, keep going.
Yeah. So hold on.
You're talking about NFT shit, crypto shit.
Oh yeah, pump and dumps in crypto. Those are super uncommon. They never happen. Every investment in the crypto space is very legitimate.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what happens, right? There's like a lot of actors who are not passionate about crypto or blockchain, but they just looked at the quick money. It's like, all right, this is where all the venture capital is going to.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, let's create a quick deck, you know, some project, and like, let's get some funding. And then, you know, and then, you know, so it's good, you know, what happened. It wiped out all the individuals. who didn't really have a solid, business case or like provided value for the customers. And then the ones who have real projects, they became lean, and then they're still thriving.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting though, because like as much as people try to point out all of like the pump and dumps and the criminality almost that happened in crypto, to be quite frank, I saw the same thing happen in venture capital, specifically in the cannabis space.
Yep.
Back in like 2016, 2018, you have no idea. I would honestly say 80% of the market was pump and dumps.
Oh,
basically, it was bankers getting out of their job and basically saying, oh, the four of us are going to start a cannabis company. We know nothing, we've never smoked it, right? We know nothing about growing it, we know nothing about selling it, but we're just going to start a cannabis company. And you saw the craziest failures. Everyone basically was raising $3 million overnight, trying to invest it into like warehouses and all this bullshit, and nothing ever happened. The real winners were like alpha farmers, who were underwater with their own like assets, and they just got out of it because like some fucking banking entity or some random group of former bankers got together and purchased their shit. Right? And like this, I have like some property out in Stony Creek, and there's actually this whole soccer place that got turned into like a vertical hydroponic farm that lasted for like, let's say 3-4 years, like maybe 3 years. Like a year of that was production, and now they're done.
Yeah.
Right? And these are big names too. It wasn't like the tiny ones. It was like the Afrias, it was the CGCs.
Yeah.
Even the whole Drake venture, no one talks about that one. That fucking disappeared, right? Everyone forgets that.
He had an FT project?
No, he had a cannabis project.
Oh yeah.
CGC.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I think every rapper the last couple of years an NFT project or do the any kind of like trendy thing that's getting a lot of VC money. And then now it's like they're probably all jumping into AI.
Probably.
Yeah, even if they have like no business being in AI, they're probably gonna jump in. So.
Or like AI music or whatever the case is.
Yeah, you get funding for it.
AI music, honestly, is the scariest one in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that Drake song, I'm not gonna lie, I still bump it. The Drake Weekend song, by Ghost Rider, it's fire. I don't care what anyone says. It's unreal.
It's not that. No, I've actually listened to it. I'm listening. I'm like, no, this is not as good as the real thing, but it's like it's pretty cool. It's cool that the AI did it, but if you actually listen to this song, if you actually just really listen to it, it's not their best work.
Yeah,
it's not their best work, but it's cool. It's cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see where it'll come in like 5 years.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Like you just have these songs replayed on their models on the back end. And next thing you know, you got these AI rappers now, and then we're all competing, and then like record labels or like basically tech companies, AI companies. Like I don't know, who knows how it's all gonna end up.
Well, I actually made an article about like the whole ramifications of AI music and actually how record labels can profit from it. And to be honest, in the long term, I do not think that record labels are thinking bad about this. I truly think like, you know what? Maybe there's a way I can work this out because there's so many discovery deals. You know how many times record labels invest into like some, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but like some random hood man from Chicago because I think he's popping off on like SoundCloud. You know how easy it is for them now to basically, they already created really egregious deals that fucked over these rappers, right? Now it's like, hey man, I need you for like one album, one EP, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, right? That's it. They can even now the whole idea of an industry plans. I don't even need to create one now. I'll like literally like synthesize one, right? So I think honestly, like AI music, we have not seen the end of that. We don't even know what happened. We don't even know like the legal implications that happened to that Ghost Rider guy and the Drake thing. We don't know what happened. It just went silent.
They probably just like shut it off because like he doesn't own any of that, and like you can't like sample because that's a sample. But well, they're probably gonna start passing laws against that because they're already really strict on sampling. Sampling is already like
so
people's charisma is ruined over that.
UMG has already said you can't train any of our artists. You can't train an AI and any artist voices.
Yeah, it's their IP, right? So he'll have a pretty big IP lawsuit pretty soon. And
but it gets crazy then because it's like if UMG says that, right? So are you saying that the artist's voice is now your IP? Is that good for the artist? You know what I'm trying to say here now? Because now if they say, okay, you can't train an AI, does that mean they can now? You know what I'm trying to say? Because if they say we own your voice, we own your likelihood.
They don't care though.
Yeah.
That's
so
interesting.
I mean, to remain and keep control, then
but if you own your masters, if you own your music, then you can technically, train it and let it like create its own songs, or at least get the lyrics, know, and then you can sing it on your own, rap it on your own.
Who was that? Who's that one girl who dated Elon Musk? Grimes. Yeah. Grimes said she would do like a royalty share. If anybody.
She's really smart. She's really ahead of the game. She's like, I'll give you 50% for any of you guys who take my voice, and I'll license my voice to any of you guys if you can. If you guys can actually make a track. But she's smart because all the producers are gonna jump on board that. They can actually make a song out of it, and she'll get 50% of that. So she's actually like, honestly, we're gonna see a lot of that, I think. Because if she has even one song that pops off, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah.
it's also gonna make them money. So if you think about it from that perspective of that way, then it's gonna make a lot of artists more money.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to give 500K or something for a feature or whatever, because some of these rappers,
they charge a lot. Yeah.
For like a few verses, that's gonna cost a heavy penny.
I work a lot with artists who they buy the feature. Let's say the feature's like 15 grand, so they buy the feature, and then the artist might charge like 20 to 30 grand to be in the video after. So what they end up doing is I get this phone call like almost all the time. They call me, they're like, okay, so we bought the feature, but like for the amount of money it would cost to get this artist in the video, we'd rather just 3D animated. And like that happens all the time. Like I was on a video with Vibes Cartel recently. He's in jail, so that's an example. I've worked with a lot of rappers who are in jail, but I've also booked I did one for Tory Lanez recently where it's like he wasn't in the video. Like I did that one in like February, and then like this is actually so weird. The producer tagged me in the promo for it on their label.
Let's go.
And then I saw that and we're releasing it on the 26th. And I'm like, I did this video like 4 months ago, and you guys are just dropping it like 4 months later. You guys are totally delayed. And then what they did is that they changed the song 3 times.
Yeah.
So the first song was like regular rap beat. Second one was a Jersey club beat, and then the third one is like it's called Space Drill. I've never even fucking heard of this shit.
Space Drill.
It's called Space Drill. So it's like it's exactly what it sounds like. It's drill music, but it's like it sounds like you're in fucking space.
Oh, okay. I was like, are we killing aliens now? Is that what that is?
So, but I feel bad for the first 2 producers who got kicked off their placement, because if you would have got a Tory Lanez credit if you did that, right?
Yeah.
So they kicked it off twice, and then the third producer he adds me, and he's just like, and I'm just like, you changed these. He's like, oh, this is my song now. I said, dog, like I've heard 3 versions of the songs. I've only did the video, right? So they changed. So we just kept swapping out the footage again and again. Now it's on this 3rd video, same video, but like the songs can change 3 times. But it's because they don't want getting Tory in the video is expensive, and sometimes it might be cheaper just to animate it, and that's trendy right now. Right? So I'm seeing a lot of like it's influenced me. It's kind of crept up on my desk, right? So yeah.
Yo, on that topic, right? Tory Lanez, the case he has right now.
That is why he might go to jail. Yeah.
He's facing a lot of time, right?
Huh?
You might go to jail, right?
He's appealing it though, but he might go to jail. But he's appealing it, and honestly, I feel I don't know. Okay, obviously, I feel like first of all, should never have been in that scenario. Stupid as fuck. I have no idea. Like you shouldn't at that level of money be in any scenario where a gun's going off. Yeah. But what do you guys think about that? What do you think actually happened?
Shit, at the end of the day, it shouldn't have been in the scenario.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just like anything that happens when you put yourself in the scenario, you're out of control of what happens. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, man, you just have too much money to be just putting yourself in.
Just doing dumb stuff. Yeah. Like why in anywhere are you touching the gun? You know what I'm trying to say? Don't you have security for that?
Yeah.
But so the interesting thing though is that if you look at the actual story, and I've actually delved into this a lot, the only person who had a gun in the car was the female friend of Megan, right? Like that's the whole thing.
Right.
So apparently it was her gun.
Yeah. There's so many different stories, but apparently that's what this. I've heard that as well.
I've heard it was her. Okay, I've heard so many things. I've heard it was Tori that shot her. I've heard that it was what's her name? I forget her name. The other girl and Megan got into a fight, right? And then basically she's the one that shot her. I've heard that there was an altercation between Tori and the other girl, and the gun went off. You know what I'm trying to say? I've heard so many things, right? But at the end of the day, it's super unfortunate. Actually, I think the biggest thing that was really bad about that whole scenario was the timing of it. Because I remember it went off during, it was around the whole BLM thing. I remember Tori at that time during the lockdowns was basically doing the whole lockdown radio, whatever, all that kind of stuff, right? And he was really pushing support and whatever, right? But then it was when that happened, it was it died immediately, right? It was still his perception completely changed. But I don't know, it's interesting. Sometimes I also feel industry benefits off of salacious stories.
Oh, 100%.
And now they're basically benefiting from a conflict between black men and black women.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and that's basically what's happening. They're pitting black men and black women against each other,
Oh, it's bad.
which I don't think is good at all.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, the media's just nasty.
The media's the worst. All they care about is clicks.
100%.
Right? So it's what side do you want? You're a team Tory or you're team Megan, right?
Yeah, because they know what's gonna get people riled up.
Exactly.
And they're just pushing us.
Yeah.
It's not like we're already on the edge with COVID and shit that's going on.
Yeah.
Social justice is we're already on the edge.
All
and
times.
then I don't know.
No, I agree. with you.
Even with politics too, it's
it's too
give
much.
it a break.
You know what's funny? Even on that front, I feel like everyone. I think I would say before it was 60%, but I think 80% of the population is just tired of all this shit. Everyone's tired of fighting. Everyone's tired of conflict. A lot of people right now are I don't want to hear about the economy. I don't want to hear about shit. I just want to enjoy summer. Yeah. That's it. I know that basically banks are failing right now, which is hilarious, right? That's actually still happening. Interest rates are still going up. Honestly, the world's technically on fire right now. But it's almost like people have been so stressed over the last 3-4. It's actually crazy when you think about it. It's almost getting 4 years from when all this shit started. People are just so tired. They just want to enjoy life for just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
It's been so stressful, bro. Even in the city right now, bro. Like the layoffs that are happening, it's crazy, right? PwC is laying off people.
Shopify.
Yeah, Deloitte. No, see, here's what gets me though is when the Big Four is laying off people. To me, that's indicative of like really bad shit. Because
they're secure.
Exactly.
They're typically secure.
So if the Big Four is laying off, it means they're getting less business, which means that the whole fucking private sector is hurting then.
There's a trend right now on TikTok called de-influencing, where it's like we've had influencers crammed down our throats the last probably like maybe like 7-8 years, and there's this new trend going on right now where it's like, I'm just not gonna participate in these trends anymore, what the fuck it is. Like, let's say like you're like a crib influencer, like influencing furniture, influencing like this is on my crib and shit like that. People are getting wise to the fact that this isn't real life. It's like if you're an influencer doing like this is my crib tour, you have like a monetary incentive to probably like change your crib every single year, decorate the shit out of it, buy all this artwork, have like the sneaker, all this like hype shit.
Yeah, it's investment.
And but they're making money on that, right? So it's kind of like, but the people are getting wiser to the fact that this isn't anyone's real life. This is complete entertainment. You know, but that's, you know, like, should I don't know, like, get a sneaker wall? Should I, like, you know, get these paintings? Should I, like, redo my place? And, you know, like, the influencers on YouTube who are doing this stuff, oh, this is my new, like, fucking closet tour or whatever. Like, people want to participate in this shit anymore. Like, when it first came out, it was hyped because there was so much clout in having, like, a crazy wardrobe or having, like, a crazy, like, LA mansion, the hype house and everything. But now it's like, we know you guys are fucking, like, renting this shit. We know that you're only here for a year. We know you're just doing this for the clicks. And then next year, you can do it again and again. You can kind of repeat the experiment.
Yeah.
But I think people... It kind of goes to show me that, like, you do anything long enough, it gets saturated, people get sick of it, and, like, all these models who are doing, like, IG, let's say you have, like, a few million followers on IG and you're, like, really famous and you're living on that, like, if I was, like, an IG model doing this and I was, like, in my mid-20s, not just from aging out from it, but I'd be kind of concerned that, like, one day the brands might not find it effective anymore to be sponsoring you with this amount of money, because they pay you a lot. So it might hit a point where it's, like, we're not really getting ROI off this micro-influencing anymore, and, like, flying you guys out to, like, Coachella and everything, like, we might just go back to more, like, grassroots advertising. I have a theory that we're going to have a surge in billboards again. Just regular traditional advertising. I met this one guy doing ads, and he was just like, we only do like billboards and traditional. I'm like, why? He's like, because it's cheap and like the prices have really gone down, and he's like, it's surprisingly effective.
Yeah. So you know what's funny, especially in Canada?
Yeah.
You know who owns all the billboards? You know, there's like one guy.
That's fucking crazy.
No, seriously.
Wow.
Jim Pattison.
Oh, man.
Jim Pattison. He lives in Niagara.
Oh, word.
One fucking guy owns all the fucking. And when I say this, man, I'm saying like the billboards you see on the highway. I'm saying to the point where when you go to a bathroom in a bar, you go piss.
Yeah.
Same fucking guy, Pattison. Look at it. It's a blue little Pattison.
Oh wow.
Jim Pattison. He owns everything.
Jeez.
He owns all of it, right? So it's. I'm really fascinated by commerce in general because once you understand how commerce works, life starts to make a little more sense, right?
Oh, no, I'm good, thanks.
It's just a soda. It's not a beer. It's just a soda.
Yeah,
Oh, soda?
it's a sparkling water.
It's kind of healthy.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, for sure.
What have you been looking at this week, though?
Looked at Google I/O a little bit, you know, and looking at the AI wars
AI
between
everything.
Microsoft and Google.
Who do you think is gonna win?
So from my understanding, like Google's been investing in AI much longer than Microsoft has.
Yeah.
But Microsoft just buying stake in OpenAI just like helped them, you know, get much faster in the race for sure.
Yeah.
But now Google's starting to catch up.
Yeah. Have you seen the whole there is no moat leak?
No, I haven't.
So, an anonymous Google AI developer leaked a document, right? Where basically, like, Google's like, yo, we have no moat, and neither does OpenAI. And what they mean basically is that, like, okay, all of the institutions, the major, like, so all of the big tech companies are basically investing in AI. They are having a hard time competing with open source. Because basically, in AI right now, the ones who are winning are ones who open source their system and allow it to be iterated by anybody. So they're saying that OpenAI has no moat, Google has no moat. If you keep it walled, right, you're gonna lose.
Can't scale, yeah.
So it's interesting how what Meta just did, right? Zuckerberg basically just open sourced, what's it called? Their it's like their AI system, like the image thing, whatever they have. They just open sourced it.
Okay.
Said,
Image classification.
they're like, fuck it, open. It's got a name. I forget it. There's too much data in my mind. But like, interesting that like they said, you know what, fuck it. We're not gonna do this whole walled garden thing. Open source it.
Nice.
If you want to reiterate on our software, do it, right? And I think it's actually a great thing to do. However, though, I also think that like as much as AI is a tool, right? there are some dangers in it, and I would say the only dangers are in bad actors, right? But I still think it is a tool. At the end of the day, it's really not going to like ruin the world. It's not going to take jobs away. However, though, going back to the whole voice thing, I think some bad actors can really do some damage right now. Because if you think about it, we have no security infrastructure against, like, let's say, voice replication. There's no security infrastructure against that. So how many things do you have where basically, okay, so let's say I want to call your bank, right? I use Dcast, right? Is a podcast transcription software that I use, right? Dcast is able to mimic any voice after 3 minutes, or no, 3 seconds of voice training. So now basically, Mike, imagine I call your mom with your voice, and I say, Mom, I'm in bad trouble. Can you help me out? You know, I feel like that's where the danger is. For bad actors, it's like there's a level of danger there, because there's going to be an educational curve in understanding, how do we get around this, right? Like, how do you make sure you can... Exactly.
Increase in scams are going to go through the roof.
We've seen that already.
Yeah.
We've seen that already so far since the pandemic.
Yeah. The whole thing of like, there was like the story of like, somebody calls someone's mom and they say, I'm in trouble,
Wire this much money.
Exactly, right? So I think that's gonna happen for sure, which is super unfortunate. And I think it's actually the boomers are the most like susceptible to this. Because I love my dad, right? But the more I talk to my dad, the more I realize he's like almost like operating on an older operating system.
Totally.
He's incapable of like understanding what's happening right now. So it's like I need to tell him like, okay, hey dad, if anyone calls you and it sounds like me, here's the code. If I don't say this, it's not
some
me.
authentication
It's not
process.
Me. So I had to tell him that. It's like if I don't say this passcode, it's not me. Period. Right? But there's definitely some. Like, there is some danger, but I do not think AI is going to destroy the world. I think scammers going to scam. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, credit scammers are going to be credit card scammers, right?
Companies are going to get more efficient. And for workers, you want to be more efficient as well. So learn the tools as best as you can. I've been trying. So that's probably the best way to hedge at the moment.
And I've been trying to tell everybody right now, like on any level, just get good with whatever platform AI you're comfortable with. Whether it's GPT, whether it's Canva, whether it's like whatever it is.
Notion.
Just get comfortable with some sort of AI, because that's the future. It's just going to be a tool, and you saying I'm not going to use AI is like saying I'm not going to use a calculator. It's insane. You're not But I think AI is going to create significant changes in how society operates for sure. Especially, my concern is the fucking U.S. elections, right? Because like we're gonna get flooded with bullshit, right? Like all of these, it's gonna be like Trump said this, Biden said this, didn't actually say it.
Deep fake videos.
All of that's gonna come out. Here's another one I'm worried about, right? It's a salacious topic, right? But deep fake porn.
Yeah, that's been out. I was actually looking at the software on how to do it. It's actually not that hard to do.
It's not that hard to do. So people are using. So this is one platform called Stable Diffusion.
Okay.
So you can actually take essentially like the software Stable Diffusion, right? Yourself and domicile on your own platform. So Stable Diffusion essentially is like almost. I'm not going to explain it properly, but it's a comp to Midjourney. So it's like an image developer, right? But with that, you can basically take someone's image and create like an X-ray. So you can take basically like any girl's photo on Instagram, X-ray. That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem.
There's a girl on TikTok. She got DM with some dude who like sent her like 50 like fake nudes of herself, and it like freaked her the fuck out. And she's like a young girl. She was crying on camera. I'm like, that's horrifying. If you're like, because she's not like an OnlyFans girl. If you're 20 years old, you're on social media, you're just doing content, and then some fucking creep sends you like 50 DMs of like your of like all sorts of nudes and threatening to leak it, and they look scary real, like and they have your face in it, dude. That'll freak you out, right?
And I'll tell you this has been happening because I'm going to keep this very I've had friends where they've had. Okay, here's another one. If you have a phone, and I'm just gonna say it like this, do not upload all your photos onto Instagram. Okay, right? Because you know how it asks you upload all your photos or select ones, right? Do not upload your library of photos onto Instagram. Because I had a friend, she got her Instagram hacked, and she just happened to like have all her photos on Instagram.
Yeah.
And there were some photos she didn't want to have on there, right? So they blackmailed her. They made her create a video to say, hey, I've invested in this kind of crypto. I want you to invest into it too. And the reason why she did that is because they said, hey, if you don't do that, I'm releasing all of these photos.
Yeah, don't use that storage. It's
Yeah,
not a bad,
yeah.
it's not iCloud.
But now it's even more dangerous because basically you can get any girl, like he said, and basically say, hey man, I have like 50 fake photos of you.
Yeah.
Right? But like, let's say this girl works for wealth management. She doesn't want that out there.
Yeah.
Right? It's a dangerous, so I'm trying to say, there are some definitely some dangers to AI. And I asked myself, how do you protect yourself against that? Right? Like what do you do? Do you start wearing a niqab? Like, I don't know. Like what do you do?
There's going to be emergence of a lot more companies for like, you know, solving these problems, right?
Cybersecurity.
Yeah, cybersecurity.
Security for sure, 100%.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, more protections.
Yeah, more protection. Any solution, there needs to be a problem.
Yeah,
So
and it'll have to be embedded.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that's one way to kind of get these kids off social media all the time. You know.
I heard Gen Z right now,
restrictions.
they're getting really into dumb phones. Like Gen Z, they're getting into like, they're going back to flip phones and getting into dumb phones because they saw what happened to millennials and they're actually kind of learning from our mistakes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Gen Z kids right now just like literally using like dumb, like flip phones, like phones with no color.
Yeah.
Just like calling, texting. They don't want to be on all the other social. It makes you think about like, I feel like humans are actually pretty smart, and like when things become too saturated, after I'd say the period's maybe like 5 to 7 years, the younger generation, they kind of adapt to it. They're just like, okay, look, let's not do that. Let's go back to the way things were. I've heard some people have this theory right now that this generation is going to have like a return to the land sort of like movement, like which is what the hippies did, where it's like, yo, let's like the world right now is really fucked up. We're fighting in a war right now. Let's like return back to like a wholesome environment where we're like, you know, kind of like open love and like, I don't know, like organic life. You know, because right now, like, if we just keep, like, you know, like, barreling down into the land of, like, hyper-stimulated, phone-addicted, social media, like, you know,
Matrix.
like, it's just going to get worse over time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, social media's done nothing for us.
Oh no.
It's done some good, but it's done a lot of negative. I think
it's done a lot of good.
But it's done a lot of negative. I know what you mean. It's a very double-edged sword. It's done a lot, but it's also kind of like fucked it. I think Dan Bilzerian said social media is the worst thing that happened to modern society.
Very funny for him to say that.
Yeah, because he made so much money.
No,
on it,
100%.
Actually, that's a great veer, because honestly, he may be one of the greatest scumbags of all time.
Oh, he is, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, because this guy, it's literally all his dad's money. His dad made that money through criminality, and he gave it to him because he was in prison. Right? So, do you know the Dan Bilzerian story? Yeah. So, like, very funny for him to come out and say that. As this guy literally hires I'm gonna be very kind and say hires women.
No, he does, yeah.
Yeah.
He calls agencies and he's like, send me a bunch of girls who want more followers and like I'll blow up their Instagram tomorrow.
Agencies?
He gets like 20 different influencers.
Is that what you call them now? Agencies? Or I would call them pimps. But yo.
No, there are definitely some hookers around too and shit like that. But in terms of like a lot, like, if you actually like look at these photos, most of the girls in there, it's for entertainment. It's for press, right?
Right.
Send me like 20 girls who don't have really big followings, but they're really hot, and then like I'll get them in all these photos, and then they'll benefit, and we'll feed them dinner and stuff like that, and send them home after, and like that's they have like, you know, so like that's how he probably gets around avoid paying any of them anything, because like they are getting like press out of it, because hanging with Dan Bilzerian, you're gonna get a spike for sure.
Yeah. Close.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about? We're going on the podcast. This is your show right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking on social media and phones, you guys watch the Full Send podcast?
Yeah.
So actually today they were premiering a podcast just before I came, and they interviewed this Amish guy.
Yeah.
Right? And they asked him like, how long does Amish people live till? And he's like, 90 to 100. Now I don't know if that's true. But then they were like, it makes sense because they eat a lot more organic food. It's much more like it's not processed and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they work out all day. Like, you know, they don't actually like go to the gym and shit, but they're outdoors, like cutting trees and shit, you know. And like they don't have phones and stuff, so they're not as stressed. You know, they're just most of the time they're just talking and like outdoors and spending time. And I'm like, oh wow. And they're living like 90 years.
I saw
Like it's nothing.
I saw the episode where they said they were bringing him to like Miami or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
They're bringing him to Miami. Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to the show. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
But that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Because he hasn't really seen the world, and now they're just putting him into this digital age.
Yeah.
Apparently they're gonna take him to a strip club or whatever, so that's gonna be hilarious.
That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. But
crazy,
man,
sure.
These guys will do anything for content.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they've had so much success is because of the creativity of them doing different interviews and the generic podcasts, right? So
yeah, they're not afraid.
They're not afraid to step out the boundaries, kind of do their own thing, and the content they create is one of a kind. You know, they do a great job.
Yeah, no, they're definitely unique in the podcast
for sure,
content creation space.
You know, like even just like being it also the connects to like they've done a great job connecting with Dana White and you know a lot of these people in the industry that's helped them get Donald Trump.
For sure,
that's helped them get some like top profile people.
Absolutely,
you know, that the average podcast couldn't get.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. The good thing about some of these influencers, obviously, I know it's the big ones, but it's not just the content itself, but the businesses they build around it.
They make so much money off it.
Where like they don't have to rely on it. They don't make that much off YouTube and all that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
They make it off like their candy bars, like Mr. Beast and like his burgers and stuff. Like
they even have the full set. They got their spritzer now.
They got the Happy Dad.
The Happy Dad.
You know, and they're launching everywhere. Apparently this summer they're gonna launch it here in Canada.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have like Logan Paul and KSI doing Prime. Right? And like apparently that is like becoming a huge thing where like they're running out of cases and they can't keep up with the supply and demand. So I mean, so there was someone, I think it was on the All In podcast, and they said the next generation of billionaires are going to be social media influencers. Not all of them, of course, but like some of the best top tier ones. Like the businesses they make, because the marketing side is done. Once they make a good product, you know, and it brings value to people.
Let's put it to the front of the community.
Exactly. So when you have like 100 million, 20 million followers, it's done.
I've had so many dudes on YouTube pitch me NordVPN. When I finally needed to get a VPN, I was like, oh fuck, I'm probably gonna get Nord because I literally had like 10 guys I followed like just preaching to me for the last 3 years straight. And I was like, that worked on me. It took like a while, but I was just like, I need a VPN, and I'm like, well, this one seems legit.
Yeah.
But then again, you get shit like FTX where like you have all these influencers preaching some like fucking like Ponzi scheme, and then everyone costs so much money. It's fucking crazy. And they were all preaching it for like probably a year straight.
Kevin, all the big names, Kevin O'Leary. Brady. Everyone.
Everybody. For sure.
Yeah. Apparently they recovered a bunch of assets. I don't know if you heard. They recovered a bunch of assets, and apparently they're set to relaunch next year or something.
Usually that happens.
They're gonna relaunch that shit.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, they should be able to do that. They should do that. There's so much fraud. Like I think he's on house arrest, but he's like they're probably not gonna jail his ass, but he's probably gonna be in trouble for like a long time.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can't get away if you're just like taking people's funds, just like, and they just disappear one day.
Who's this?
We're talking about like how everyone was influencing towards like pushing FTX, and then like we're talking about like Sam Bankman-Fried. He's
okay, I'm so happy you brought that up because that was the most fucking bullshit in the world. Sam Bankman-Fried is the most industry plant I've ever seen in my life. His two parents, you guys know about them, right?
Lawyers?
No, not even lawyers. Okay, his mother is the greatest contributor. Okay, his mother runs a nonprofit that's one of the largest contributors to DNC. His father, right, is one of the best experts on tax law and tax compliance in America. Now you're telling me this child ended up being the greatest fraud of all time? This guy had Gary Gensler working with him to get FTX approved in America, right? Wow. This FTX failing was that was the last company that should have failed. And the fact that they're using it almost as an example of like why you should not invest in crypto, in my opinion, is absolute bullshit. Because Binance should have failed first, honestly, straight up, right? Because CZ is a scam. Really, if you think about it, he's supposed to be the scam guy. He's from. Is he actually like from China or China? Because
he's actually Canadian, but like I got an email from Binance today saying that like we're closing Binance in Canada, so they have to pull their money. I was like when I saw that, I'm like, yo, dude, like this, because like Binance was like the one legit.
Yeah, I feel
keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are suffering right now, but not a lot of people are talking about it. So I feel like a lot of people are suffering right now. If you have the big four suffering, senior accountants are suffering right now. I wonder what's happening to actual like the law firms then. It's
a ripple effect of that.
exactly.
Yeah.
If the law firms start laying people off.
Yeah. There's a flip to it though. I tell people, man, like, you know, I talk to people reach out to me all the time and get laid off, or, you know they're about to get laid off, or there's certain things that are going on, and they're like, I'm like, man, like this is the best time on the flip side of actually being an entrepreneur. Like I tell people, I'm like, man, like there's money flowing more now than any time before.
Yeah.
You know, so I tell people, and I'm like, yeah, I truly feel like people are now being pushed into the space of creativity because of what they're doing isn't satisfying them, but also at the same time, you know, they don't need to be there anymore. The company they're working for knows they don't need to be there anymore. You know, now what's happening, they're getting flushed out. They're being put in situations where, damn, how do I create?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's very powerful. Like, I mean, like for me personally, like it's just, you know, I personally feel like this is the most money I've ever made in my life in the last 2.5 years, ever in my life. You know, and I say that because I'm in obviously in the automation industry and tech, all that stuff. But like, this is the best time for you to be able to just do your shit.
But here's the other thing. You know what I respect about you, right?
Yeah.
And honest, you're I wouldn't even call it a hustler. You're I don't think opportunist is the right term either, right? But like, you're a survivor, bro.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you find opportunities in areas that shouldn't be opportunities. Even from the story you told me, right? Mm-hmm. That's why you win though. You were never a guy who was like, oh, I'm in this comfortable like position. I'm gonna just sit here, right? Never. You're always trying to find opportunities to win, right?
For
and
sure.
I feel like a lot of people don't, especially like in Toronto.
Yeah.
People aren't used to that.
Yeah.
People here are not used to getting the ground and using them shooken, right?
Yeah.
There's a conveyor belt. I always tell people this, especially in Toronto. There's a conveyor belt. You grow up here, you know, you go through elementary school. You go to high school, they put you in academic or applied, right?
Yeah.
You go to college or university, right? Everything for you is pretty much prescribed.
Yeah. Yep. Prescribed, yeah. Sure.
So if you don't have the ability to actually figure your way out, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like honestly, and I feel like that's why a lot of people are even like referencing you because you are publicly. I like your image and the way you operate because like you attract people to what you're doing because it's like you have to find a way to survive regardless, right? You have to use like on some. You have not just your intelligence, but your cunning, right? And that's how you sort of get ahead of things, right?
Appreciate that. So I look at it like this. So I look at life where you have your ups and your downs, right? So everyone has their high points and their low points.
Yeah.
I look at it like this. So if I looked at a chart and I'm like looking at this chart and I'm at this low point and then I get back and I'm at a high point, right? I know that, all right, I'm gonna max out at this high point or wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
Now what majority of people try to do is they're at this place and they try to stay neutral.
Yeah.
Their life doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You're either going up or you're going down.
Peaks
right?
and valleys.
Peaks and valleys.
It's
That's
a
what you're
parabola,
doing, right?
yeah.
So you're either at this job that you're like, man, I love it, and then before you know it, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months goes by, something happens, you get laid off. Boom, you're going down, right? I just firmly believe like when I'm going up, I'm at this max, I know that I'm going to go down. I know that there's going to be a valley. There's going to be something that's going to happen.
Yeah, I love
right?
that. Yeah,
so what I do is I know when I'm on my way down or something changes or investment doesn't work out the way I want it to work out, I'm going down. I know that when my trajectory back up is going to be past where I was before.
Yeah.
So it's a part of the journey. Like it's a part of it. Like you have to go through these different journeys and these different peaks and lows in order to actually maximize where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
You know, but you said it. Like majority of people are here, and they want to stay here.
Yeah. They just want to keep their jobs.
They just want to keep it, and that's it.
And they don't want to build anything on the side.
That's it.
You know, they'll talk about it, but they won't do it. You know, they won't learn. They won't keep up with what's going on.
That's it.
And that's the thing. Like this quiet quitting is happening.
Yeah.
And like you can't quiet quit during this economy. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Okay, where were your parents born?
India.
Where were your parents born?
My mom was born in Jamaica. My dad was born in Nigeria.
Do you think that's why you guys have that perspective?
Oh, for sure, totally.
Yeah. Right?
I saw my parents work, man.
Yeah.
If you're not pushing, you're losing.
You gotta survive, right?
I saw my parents work. My parents' work ethic. Both my parents were entrepreneurs. growing up as a kid, I saw my mom work a home-based business. She was a hairstylist. She worked in the basement. My dad used to work with Motorola, but he used to have his own shop. And he used to sell and fix cell phones.
Yeah.
Back in the day, before obviously Apple came and totally just changed the whole industry.
Yeah.
But I mean, I saw my parents. My parents were around when I was playing sports.
Yeah.
I grew up and played sports. They were always around. They were the parents that would like buy lunch for the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were there all the time. But I also saw my parents after the game was over. They would go back to work at like 11 p.m. to do some work, right? Because their schedule was flexible. But my parents, hands down, like they were just hard workers.
Hardcore.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And you know why I have respect. She's gone now, but like the lady here, she takes care of this place, and I'm very grateful for her. Mm-hmm. She comes here with her kid too. And honestly, I remember like my mom did the same thing, bro. My first job was honestly in the 6th grade. Mm-hmm. I was that kid that's here, cleaning this place. Actually, I tell this guy all the time, because this guy, so Eric's a very unique character, right? Mm-hmm. Very funny enough, Eric out of nowhere, started talking about like Warhammer, right? Because he's like sort of into that, right? I remember telling him, I was like, yo, I fucking hate that shit. Mm-hmm. You don't know why? Because basically, it was like when I was a kid, we had to go clean a shop that had like Warhammer shit, right? And I was like, yo, I always remember like fucking cleaning that place and looking at these fucking things, but yo, fuck this place, right? But I remember he was telling me the story about like the whole. He told me the lore of Warhammer.
Yeah. I feel like the lore is actually better than the actual game. The game is like whatever. The game is just like StarCraft. It's just all analog. You have to calculate all your moves. But like the lore is really interesting because the lore is all about survival.
Exactly.
In a really hard, like the hardest universe you could possibly imagine. It's like
So what's the term? In the deep far future.
It's like in the dark grim future there is only war.
Yeah, in the grim dark future there is only war. I think that's what exactly it is. And I didn't even realize. Okay, so I remember cleaning these fucking places. Never had any respect for it. And then years later, this guy telling me about like the whole lore of it. I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking weird that I was around that shit.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like basically it was made my life. Yeah. And there's these things called like this asshole is it Space Marines?
Yeah.
And like Space Marines basically are like.
It's the hardest existence you could ever imagine. It's like fictional, ridiculous, like something like 50% of them die during training, and like it's just the idea of being a Spartan. Like when you turn like 8 years old, it's a huge honor to have your sons go fight for like the Imperium, but like your kid might fucking die, and like they're gonna mod you so heavily by the time you come back from it, they're not gonna recognize you anymore.
And how I translated that, I was like, oh, that's. Excuse my French. Yeah. It's the lifestyle of niggas, bro. I'm trying to say, bro, yo, it's like, we get put through some hard shit, bro. Yeah. Yo, 10 to 30% of you are gonna die. Yeah. We're gonna die. You're not gonna survive, period. Yeah. But yo, the ones that you survive, yo, you guys are gonna be hard as fuck. Yeah. You're gonna be warriors, bro. Yeah. And I feel like it's very weird. And this is what I was trying to say about serendipity. Yeah. There's a lot of things that happen where it's like, you can't explain it. But there's weird messages and signs that happen through life, right? Where it's like, okay, it was weird when I was a kid. I was cleaning this place that fucking had all these fucking dumbass Warhammer fucking toys. Yeah. I fucking hated that shit. You know what I'm trying to say? But at the same time, it was almost like training me to be like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like a harder human.
It's all linked. So I tell people like, man, like for me, my past experiences is just where I look back and I'm like, this is the reason why I was put in this situation. Yeah. To prepare me for this. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I when I was young, for me, and I don't ever want to come across like tell people like you shouldn't get a job. I think you should experience that. Yes. That's very, very important. Like to experience it and to figure out like, damn, is this really what I want to do? Yeah. Now, for a majority of people, they don't like it because it doesn't give them the freedom of what they really want, where they want to go, what they want to do. Yeah. All of that. But for me, growing up as a kid, I saw my mom. What changed it for me was my mom taught me about her home business and her write-offs on taxes. Yeah. So as a young kid, I saw that, and I asked my mom, I'm like, man, why are you working here? Like, why are you working? Like, Dad's making enough money. Like, she goes, I do it for tax benefits. And I was like, damn. So she broke it down for me, and I understood. I remember getting my first job when I was 19 years old, and I remember getting, you get paid every 2 weeks, and then they hold the first 2 weeks, and you get paid like a month later. Right. And I looked at my check, and I was like, man, I saw gross and I saw net. And I was like, what is
What
this?
are these taxes?
I went back to my mom and I was like, yo, something's wrong here. There's just like a lot missing here.
He's scamming me.
Right? Like, what's going on? So that was when she taught me about taxes and how she could use the expenses to write the tax. And that for me was like, if I did this for 40 years, how much money, in my mind I'm calculating as a kid.
Yeah.
If I did this for 40 years, how much money am I missing out on?
50%.
You know what I mean?
50% of your salary.
And that's a lot of money over 40 years.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just always the thought process of like, man, I got to get it myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what's crazy? Because like that's almost the concept of Space Marines. Yo, basically, it's just straight up, right? It's like, yo, you seen it from the time
Yeah.
you're like, yo, like fuck this.
I saw it from day one.
Yeah, like,
I saw it
no.
from day
I'm
one.
a grinder, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need this infrastructure
Yeah.
to actually like help me. I know how to make money.
Yeah.
But you need to be around survivors in
For
the
sure.
first place, right?
For sure.
And that's the thing. Even for me, like I'm not exactly on the best front with like all of my parents, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like they taught me some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely my mother's son. I'll
Yeah.
tell you this. Like, hey, I'll close to my father, right? But the thing is though, like I am my mother's son. Like I have a lot of her in me. And she was a survivor. She found ways to survive regardless, right? And you have to. You can't just like live on the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt will lead you to death, if anything,
Yeah.
right? You have to find your own way out of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah. For sure. No, it is.
And it goes back to what you're trying to say
Yeah.
too. Like right now, yes, the city is on fire, but you
Yeah.
can find your opportunity. There's opportunity in chaos.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to be the type of person who's going to be able to find that.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I've always been the type of person who I see people walking this way, and I ask the question, what if I walk that way? Like I've always been that type of person where if I see the masses do something, I always say, man, what is it if I did it this way? Like what would
happen?
be different if I did it this way?
And you know what I respect you, bro? Yo, okay, I see your tattoo on your fucking Fort Rexdale.
Yeah.
Yo, anyone knows Rexdale.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Anyone knows the Rex, you know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say,
Yeah.
bro? And like where you're at right now, bro,
Yeah.
they should have respect for you.
No, I
sure.
appreciate that, man, a lot. Yeah, I mean, I always remember where I came from. It's important to me. There's a lot of cool people who came before me. Like, I used to look up to people like, PK Subban is someone that I used to like. He's a year younger than me, but he would be at Sunnydale. Like, I'll see him at Sunnydale Rink. And like, it's just crazy. Like, you see people who you're like, damn. Like, then I remember seeing them seeing him play for the Canadians. I'm like, damn, because
You made it.
That's
This is the same guy I saw at Sunnydale Rink. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and growing up as a kid, I was 7th and 8th grade. I played for Toronto 5-0 out of Renemain. And very fortunate enough, I played with Steph for 2 years, 7th and 8th grade.
Get out.
His
Get the
dad-
fuck out.
I swear to God,
Get
yeah.
the fuck. No,
I swear
elaborate
to
on
God.
that. Elaborate.
So-
Can you please elaborate on that?
So Dell played for the Raptors for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Dell's family moved to Toronto for those 2 years. He wanted his family there, so they lived here. And I played. My mom signed me up for this. My mom was always somebody who put me in extracurricular stuff, so I just wasn't in the streets.
Yeah.
Like basketball, baseball.
Yep.
Those are the things that my mom just always put me in, so I just wasn't in the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful because I look back, and since I'm back now in Toronto, I ran into some of my homies that I grew up with,
Yeah.
high school, and they were more talented than me. I was just very grateful that I had my mom put me into these things because they got caught up in the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, I signed up for this team, 7th and 8th grade, called Toronto 5-0. My mom called in, went to the tryout, made the tryout, and then Dell got traded to the Toronto Raptors, or got picked up as a free agent or whatever. And then Steph was looking for a place to play, and he joined our team. It was super dope. We were both in the same starting five. I have a video here on my phone. I'll show you.
That's
sick.
insane.
I'll forever keep that video on my phone forever.
That's
That's never
awesome.
being deleted.
How was the shot back then?
I tell people, he was a level above everybody. And what's crazy was, so we were Toronto 5-0. We were playing like Mississauga. We would play Scarborough. We would play Oakville, like these different teams. what was crazy is I had homies that I would play baseball with during the summer, who we would play against in basketball during the winter. So literally, like, we would beat everybody's ass during the winter, and then during when I'm playing baseball with my guys, because they're my teammates, I'm talking shit to them. I'm like, yo, like, Steph done did you up like a couple of months ago. You know what I mean? So it was super cool. It was a super cool experience, but he was a level up. Now, you couldn't look at him and say, yeah, this is going to be an NBA product. That was virtually impossible, just too young. But he was in the gym. He loved the gym, loved to work out. I was with him when he met his girl. Now,
damn.
Yeah, I was with him. So we were at a basketball tournament. She was there, and that's where he met her. He met her at like a basketball tournament, and I was with him when they met for the first time. And she's from Toronto.
Yeah.
That's
from Markham.
Yeah, Markham, right?
Yeah.
So she was at a basketball tournament with us, and that's where they met. So I was with them right when they met the first time.
Oh wow,
that's crazy.
You should got an invite to the wedding.
Crazy, I should. Yeah, for real. But yeah, man,
that's a
so
great
that was
story.
like the story. But it was super dope. He's super. I mean, his work ethic is just. It was. You could tell from a young age that he loved basketball, and that was his focus. You know what I mean?
So do you think like work ethic is everything then?
I think work ethic is everything, but obviously talent needs to be there. There needs to be some type of talent, right?
But it's safe though, because if you can translate it to anything.
For
like
sure.
if something doesn't work out, but if you can take that same work ethic somewhere else, you'll be fine.
For sure. I know
survive.
people who have worked hard, but they're just not, talent-wise, they just didn't get them to where they wanted to get to, right? But he had the talent, and he had the work ethic. You know, he worked on his shot. He was always, he could shoot when we were kids. He was long, lanky, had dribble. He was able to handle. He was able to do all that stuff. We were a good team from front to back. It's crazy because we had Steph, like this clean, like this kid who was from NBA son, and then the rest of us were all from Rexdale, and we're all from the hood. You know what I mean? So it was cool, but it was a cool dynamic because he was able to mesh with us. Which was super dope, man. It was super cool, cool experience. And then so we won a couple championships with him and had a great time. It was cool. It was a fun 2-year experience for sure. And then you see him at Davidson on that Final Four run. And then we were like,
that's the guy.
I was like, so he is an NBA player. That was the first time you see it. You're like, damn, he can play in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, like, but when you're just 7th and 8th grade, you know, you just don't know because it's like we're just so young. You know what I mean? But it was cool though. It was super dope. Cool experience.
That's unreal. Awesome. That's a great story, man.
Yeah. And when you go everywhere, we went everywhere, and they're like, that's Del Curry's son. We had a target on our back everywhere we went. Everybody wanted to beat us. So we would have every team. We're like the Yankees going into everywhere we went. You know what I mean? Like, and we would beat everybody convincingly. We had a good chemistry. That team was a great chemistry team. Great coach team too as well. It was super dope.
And ball is interesting because it's a smaller team. It's 5 guys. But
5 guys. We had a good bench. I would say we had like maybe about 3 or 4 guys coming off the bench that were solid guys. We had like a good 9-guy rotation.
But it's a small core.
Small core. We had a small core of guys, but it was good. Coaching was amazing. We had a great coaching staff, which was cool. But yeah, the experience of just having him and being able to share those 2 years with him was pretty cool.
So do you think sports plays a long way into people being good operators of business?
Of course. Man, you look at enterprise, you look at like certain companies look for athletes.
Yeah.
Like in the States, that's the number one thing they look for. Yeah. Most companies, like, oh, you're an ex-athlete? Oh, shit, we'll hire you right now. Because we understand teamwork, we understand the commitment, we understand what it takes to grind, yo. You know what I mean? Like, there's a grind, there's a sacrifice that we can't just go and, when I was in school, I can't go out to every party. You know what I mean? I can't do all that stuff. When I was going to college, we would practice for 5-6 hours a day. You know, by the time you're done and you do homework, man, I'm not trying to go to that party, bro. I'm exhausted. You know what I mean?
They're used to the sacrifices.
Yeah, used to the sacrifices and the hard work. I think it's just the adversity. You know, like you go through these peaks and valleys, and man, especially I was a baseball player in college, and baseball is tough. It's a tough sport to play because you fail. And I'm a hitter. Like, you go and hit the ball, you're supposed to fail 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And they tell you you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so imagine failing 7 out of 10 times and still having the confidence to go up there and succeeding, right?
Yeah. If you hit a 300, you're up there with the best.
There with the best, you know?
Yeah.
So I just think, the sports element of, teamwork, and it's, my brothers were Asian, Hispanic, white, if we're trying to get to this goal, I don't care what you look like, I don't care whatever. If we're on the same team, we are trying to accomplish the same goal. I don't care, no races involved. I looked at everyone, still to this day, I have good friends of mine who aren't black, who are different races, and they're my brothers. You know what I mean? But when you're not in that world, and you're not in the world of team, and you're not in the world of trying to get to a common goal, that's when you gotta look at race. Like, so that's when you look at someone's skin. And you're like, oh, this person, this, you have this stereotype. I never look at anyone from a perspective of skin. You know what I mean? Because, like might come from different cloths, but man, what's our goals? Like, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish?
Exactly.
If you and I are trying to go to the exact same place, we're brothers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at sister, whoever it is, like, I'm trying to accomplish greatness with you.
Straight up.
So I don't care what you look like. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's lock arms and make it happen.
If you have the drive and the ambition, like, I'll fuck with you. Hardcore.
Oh, for sure. 1,000%. But I think we live in a world where, and we were talking about this, and this is the topic we're talking about, is at the gym. And I feel this way when I'm at Altia. And it's different because now I live downtown, right? And I live downtown, and I just lived downtown for the last 2 years. And I go to places like Soho House. I go to places like Clio. I'm the type of person who I enjoy going to these private social clubs. But when I'm in these private social clubs, I gotta bring my homies with me because I'm the only one that looks like me in these private social clubs.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? So for me personally, and even the same way, like, and we joke about it with Altia, it's the same way where I saw this guy. It's a crazy story, but I saw this guy at the gym, and every time I see him, at the gym I have my head up. And I'm always looking to see who I can interact with. Majority of people are looking away, have their head down or whatever, right? So I have this guy, and every time I have my head up, he's a popular guy in the gym, right? People talk to him, I can tell, right? Every time I'm trying to like make eye contact with him, he would look away, right? Always looks like, look away, look away. So I'm going down to the underground parking. I get into my car, and he sees what I'm driving. He looks, double looks, like looks twice to see, like, what? I see him the next morning, and he looks at me. Hey, what's up, bro? What's your name?
Is this Jai?
And I'm like, I don't know what his name is.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't even know his name.
Yeah.
But I was like, bro, you saw the car I was driving.
And then he changed.
And then that's the thing that I notice is even downtown is I dress a certain way because I understand my first impression is how I look. And I get that. I understand that. But only reason why you're talking to me is because of the car that I'm driving.
You
know what I mean? Like,
you needed a confirmation.
You need a confirmation. I feel that way all the time. Once they get confirmation, oh, he's cool. But it comes from a place where, and I've noticed this, is when you start talking about downtown, you start talking about different ethnic groups that live downtown. Majority of these ethnic groups, we've never came together and had a communication. Most of these ethnic groups are only communicating with those who look like them.
Well,
through childhood.
Yeah.
So through childhood, you're only communicating with those who look like you.
Yeah.
Right? So when you get to a situation where someone might, look different than you, you kind of have this stereotype, like, I don't know what this guy's all about. I don't know. I've never looked at anyone like that way.
Yeah.
My personal experience, I look at everyone as, damn, what's your story?
Yeah.
That's what intrigues me about everybody. Because I know everyone has a different story. So downtown is different because I lived in the States for 12 years. Racism is different in the States. They tell you you're not welcome here. And they'll tell you that straight to your face.
Oh, wow.
And it's very segregated. I lived in Kansas City. I lived in the Midwest for 12 years, or for 9 years. In the Midwest, it's different because it's very segregated. Black people go to black clubs, white people are in the suburbs. It's just like, and they never really cross lines. So I was a black DJ in the Midwest, in Kansas City, where other black DJs were envy of me because I'm playing for the CEO of Sprint, and I'm getting invited to their mansion. What is this? Oh, I'm the Canadian, so I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That was the perception. Oh, he's Canadian. Oh, it's all good. Right? But from the perspective of the Midwest, it's so segregated. But here, it's the same thing, but it's not as vocal as American.
They don't talk about it.
You know, never talk about it.
They try to be polite.
Oh, try to be polite about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But it's the same thing. They look to see who is that, who's this, what are you about? And it's just that's really
Are
what's
you
up.
black or
yeah, are you
black?
black? Are you
Yeah,
what? Where
yeah,
you
yeah,
from? Like, you know what I mean? Like they be acting that way, right? You know, and it's crazy. It is crazy, and I'm sure everyone has different experiences for sure. But I have a perspective because I lived in the States for 12 years.
I totally agree with that too. And my perspective though basically is I played football. And I played on the line. I was in the box, right? So that's the most, they call it the most violent
That's the
place
trenches.
in sports.
That's the trenches.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was.
call it the trenches.
This guy loves the term the trenches, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, so you understand it,
Yeah.
man. My whole life in sports, I was in the trenches. I only ever fuck with the trenches, right? And when you're in the trenches, bro, you know what? Your color doesn't matter. Are you ready for war?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
trying
all
to say?
that matters.
Are you ready for war? Are you with me, my brother? Are you ready to fucking, when we do this stunt,
Yeah.
and that guard's coming at you, are you ready to take that hit?
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
so I can get to the quarterback? Are you ready for that? And because I know I'm ready for it, I'll take that fucking hit for you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's basically you have brothers out there.
Yeah.
Brothers. And they're not always black.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah.
some of the, okay, Jesse Chafe.
Yeah.
Jesse Chafe, I say this all the time. Love him, right? Always my brother, right? But honestly, realistically speaking, Jesse Chafe would be what people consider white trash,
Yeah.
right? My brother, though, Jesse Chafe took hits for me.
Oh, for
Jesse
sure.
Chafe fought for me.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
trying to
Yeah,
say?
totally.
Jesse Chafe is my fucking guy.
Yeah, I got
and
it,
ever
bro.
since battling with that guy, it was even basically, it was like those times we were both on the defensive line. Those times he played offensive line, I had to battle him,
For sure.
right? And we were able to gain respect because like when I battled him, bro, he knew I'm coming, bro.
For
I'm
sure.
fucking listen. Don't
For
fuck
sure.
There's no room for
Yeah,
weakness
yeah.
here. OT's coming for you. You know what I'm trying to
For
say?
sure.
So from that and that level of war, we built this level of respect from each other.
Oh, totally.
Right? So it's like well, no matter where you came from, and he
Yeah.
actually came from a really fucked up background too,
Yeah.
right? But like yo, we loved each other regardless of where we came from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that perspective taught me so much about basically being able to judge character.
For sure.
If you're able to fight in the trenches with me, I love you.
Oh, love you, bro.
I love you, bro.
totally.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, that's all it is. Like, if you're willing to put your fucking ass on the line
Yeah.
for me, I'll do the same for you, my brother, for us
Yeah.
to win. It doesn't matter which one of us is winning.
Yeah.
As long as we're
Right.
fucking doing
Winning,
the winning,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's all that fucking came down to it, right?
Makes sense why sports and business translate together.
Exactly.
Because when
Totally,
you're
bro.
starting a business, you're
It's the
basically
same
in the
thing.
trenches.
It's the
You're in the
you
trenches,
know?
bro.
And that's when you really understand
Yeah.
someone's character.
And
Totally.
this goes back, Eric, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Space Marines, bro. Right? Like, that's how I understood it.
It's all surviving, bro.
Yeah.
It's just surviving, yo. You're out there just fighting. You're in a
Yeah.
war. We were literally, because here's the thing, man, I played game, bro. Actually, there was a time when me and Jesse, we broke a quarterback's femur.
No, it's fucked.
And I remember, because basically, like, yo,
That's fucked.
I remember I grabbed the quarterback and I was going down. Jesse jumped on him. I remember hearing the sound. It sounded like a branch being broken around like a wet towel. You know what I'm trying to say? And we got up and we just saw it and we were like, oh shit. We're like, damn, we did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It was like, fuck, you know,
Yeah.
we're capable of damage,
That's
the
crazy.
two of us, right? And it's things like that, you know, because you're actually we could die out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying?
Yeah.
I seen guys get paralyzed. I seen one of our quarterbacks get hit so hard, his left arm got paralyzed. You know
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say? Right? Like it was like we were at war,
Yeah,
like
war.
at war, bro. You know, and like it's like being in that scenario taught me so much.
Yeah.
Everything's on the line. You know, what
Yeah.
I mean, I could not walk out of this game
Yeah.
if things go wrong,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Like, and yeah, being there taught me so much, man, about life, about partnership, about like you know how to progress in life. You can't just judge people off of like their fucking skin color.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's their character, and
Yeah.
it sounds so cliche, but it's just that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? But
For
yeah,
sure. No, totally.
Uh,
What made for me, remember I told you guys when I was playing basketball during the winter and then playing baseball during the summer.
yeah,
Those guys I was playing baseball with in the summer were my teammates that I was
Yeah.
playing with.
yeah,
But during the winter, there were guys that we were playing against in basketball.
yeah,
When it was basketball season, I hated those guys.
yeah.
Like when it was if you weren't wearing the same jersey as me, bro,
Fuck you.
I'm going in on you.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're going in, we're going like, and we talk shit. Like we were like, yo, but once summer hit, bro,
We're back at it.
we're on the
brothers
same team,
again.
bro. We're brothers again.
But that's the respect of it because like steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
Right?
1000%.
And if I was soft on you and respect
Oh,
you,
for
and I'm
sure,
trying to say,
totally.
we gotta go at it. We gotta
Totally,
go
man.
at it. You
And I'm
know,
talking
like-
about I'm talking about, man, them basketball games,